be very specific. You get a Spectre gunship and an ISR Pred.
There is a drone from Derna overhead right now. The gunship is out of fueling range. That's what they're telling me. I'm ordering the evacuation.
You're not giving orders anymore. You're taking it. You're in my world now.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
This is Cheap Seat Reviews.
Hello, and thank you for listening to Cheap Seat Reviews, the podcast that explores the Hollywood film industry for the greater good. This
The greater good.
is episode... Why is my microphone not doing the thing I want it to do? Okay, sorry.
Record?
This is... No, it's not... Anyway, episode...
Amplify your voice over electronics.
Electronics? Okay, sure.
Yeah.
This is episode 189, and tonight we're talking about 13 hours. Seriously, microphone, you're driving me crazy here. All right,
Yeah.
that's better. There we go. Talking about 13 hours. I am Sean Allred, and joining me tonight is Andrew. You must have a beard to fight Jimison.
So I have a beard,
I know.
so I can whoop some ass.
That's right. Give this man a gun. He's good to go. Sam is always a dick to the people who try to protect him. Vector.
No one tries to protect me. That's a fallacy.
It's a fallacy?
Yes.
Okay. It's good to know. And speaking
Yeah.
Penis.
and speaking of Dick, in case you missed it last week, Sam said this.
Dick was being too hard.
There you go. I now have that forever. I'm sorry if that offends you, but that was funny.
That was funny.
Wait, I'm trying to think. What movie did we watch?
The last episode we did. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry. This episode we're a week late. It was just scheduling issue
Yeah,
after
it's been
scheduling
crazy.
issue, and it just couldn't work. So you won't know, but I'll post this tonight after we get done recording it. But anyway, we did The Founder last episode.
Oh, okay, that's right. That's
And
right.
one of the
Dick was
characters
brother.
was named Dick, yeah, and Sam said that.
That's right.
We all giggled like
Okay.
school children that we are. And so I now,
All right.
I now have
So we
that.
went from one type of war to another type of war.
Well, yeah, and both had McDonald's references, which is weird. Yeah. This one was less pen and paper and more bullets and grenades. Andrew is having...
Sorry, I'm destroying everything.
Okay. So cool. Let's pull up a comfy chair and dive into 13 hours. I'm really excited to talk about this movie for lots of reasons. But I'm going to go ahead and get this part out of the way. Okay. As we have striven, that's not a word. As we have
Striven?
strived, stroved, striven.
Strived.
I've heard it both ways. I wish Corny was here. He'd get that. As we have often done in the past, whenever anything comes up that could possibly be in a political type of way, we always don't talk about that for, I think, obvious
try not
reasons.
to.
Yeah, because I don't want to alienate any listener. I want everyone to be able to participate. So, if you have a particular way you feel about what happened here in regards to Hillary Clinton or whatever, we're not going to talk about that. We're just not. It's not the point of the show, and frankly, the movie doesn't even talk about it. They don't mention her, and there's literally like one or two lines in the movie about kind of how they get into the situation that they are, and that's kind of it. The movie basically deals with the problem in front of them. So that's what we're going to do, is just talk about what was in front of us, which was the movie, and the story that it told, and how it made us feel, and all that stuff. So that's just getting that stuff out of the way now. So there you go. If you want to hear the political side, go listen to.
Call Chad up and he'll tell you.
Yeah, I talked to Chad. I'm sure he'd love to hear from you. Yeah.
If you can, find a seance and get a medium to connect you to.
Just use a Ouija board. You'll be fine.
He's more than happy.
Yeah. So Andrew, if you would, sir, kind of give us a rundown. What is 13 hours?
During an attack on a U.S. compound in Libya, a security team struggles to make sense out of all the chaos.
Is that what they're doing? I thought they were just trying to survive. They're struggling to make sense of things? Okay.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's a bad
I
read.
thought they were trying to survive as well.
That's a bad read. That's a bad. Good job, IMDb. Screwed it up again.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
They needed some attack raptors.
Right.
The tagline, when everything went wrong, 6 men had the courage to do what was right. That's actually better than the...
Yeah.
Well, that's because some marketing person came up with that
Right.
at Paramount. So anyway, all right. Excuse me. I'm going to go out of order because I do this from time to time. I'm just going to go ahead and do this now.
I do what I want.
I do it. I'm the driver of the show. I'm going to do what I want. But here we go. I'm looking back at the long lineage of the Michael Bay pantheon, right? And he's done some shit. I mean, let's be real. I think we all agree that each Transformer movie has been exceedingly worse.
Yeah.
I
Like
think
my grandmother's quiches. Each Christmas they just get a little worse.
Right,
I'm pretty
yeah.
sure next Christmas I'm going to find like a toe in one or something.
right.
Yeah.
No, I don't blame you. So, like, again, we watched the fourth one for the podcast. I mean, Corny gave it a 0, right? And we hated it. The third one I hated not that much. The second one I did not like at all. And the first one I thought was fine. I enjoyed it, and I thought it was kind of cool and neat and whatever. I did not see Pain and Gain, though I've been told it's actually okay.
It's actually pretty good. I like Pain and Gain.
I have not seen The Island, and I want to. I love
That's a
Bad
pretty
Boys
good one,
2.
too. Yeah.
I really liked Pearl Harbor. I know people hated it because of the love story. I actually liked Pearl Harbor. Armageddon is fun. The Rock is one of my favorites, just
All
period. And then Bad Boys. And then before that, of course, he did a bunch of music videos and shit like that. So my point is this, and I don't feel like, in my opinion, this is going out that much on a limb. This is probably going to be my third favorite Michael Bay film.
Third favorite?
1 being The Rock, 2 being Bad Boys 2,
Okay.
and then 13 Hours.
Yeah, I could agree with
I'd
you
have
on
to
that.
say it'd be second for me, only because Bad Boys would go right behind 13.
And I get that. It's funny. I was actually playing Battlefield 1 last night, as I do, and I quoted Bad Boys 2, and my brother-in-law, JP, who's been on the podcast before, he and I were just going back and forth, and there was a couple people in the group who had not seen it because when the movie was out, they were not old enough to see it. So they had no clue what we were talking about. I'm like, I think JP came back with, "Oh, you're gonna mess up your dreadlocks with a bullet to your head or something like that." And then we went back and forth with the Marcus and whatever. Anyway, so I'm just going to say that now. I really liked this movie a lot. 13 Hours was great. I really think it is, and I think it was one of his, as a director, one of his better movies.
But why?
Well, we're going to talk about that right now. But before I talk about it, I want to hear what you guys think. So, Andrew, had any of us seen this before, this viewing?
Nope.
I had not.
Okay, good. So we were all kind of coming into this with virgin ears, so to speak. So,
Yeah.
I'm
Are
also
you saying there's no room for my ears in the end?
No, I didn't. No, I'm not saying that.
Okay, just check.
Okay, you good?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well then, Andrew, sir, I can watch the camera. I can see that you're clearly doing something. That's why I was kind of stalling a little bit.
You can quit watching. That's private, man.
Well, then turn it off. It's like that. It's like your front yard, right? There is no expectation of privacy in your front yard. So I guess if you turned your camera on, that's on you, right?
Or if you leave your closet door cracked, you can see right out.
Well,
Exactly.
like that was this. This is a weird tangent, but I remember this. It was an actual lawsuit where a married consensual couple were having sex in their bedroom, but the blinds were up, and like some kid walked by outdoors in their yard, saw it, ran home crying to mommy because what they saw. They sued that couple and won.
Oh, geez.
Because the couple did not take necessary steps to ensure their own privacy. That's bananas. That's the world we live in. You know, it's
It was
like,
just too hot and heavy to take time to close the blinds.
yeah. Well, I mean, you know, you get caught in the mood, or whatever.
sometimes.
You take the blue pill, and things are in action, and there's just, you know, stuff is in
You've got
motion,
at
and you
least
can't
3
stop.
to 4 hours to
Yeah.
finish.
So anyway, Andrew, if you would kind of give us your thoughts on this movie, I am dying to know.
Okay. Well, I thought the movie was well done. I think it does its purpose, which is tell a story. I did feel the 2.5 hours. You said you didn't feel that. I did. Maybe it's because I was tired when I watched the movie, but I certainly did feel the 2.5 hours. The whole movie, I mean, it's very intense. And I think, I don't want to say graphic. I mean, it does have graphic moments, but we've seen Saving Private Ryan is far more graphic than this one, in my opinion. But this one certainly tells a story really well. And I don't know, I couldn't help but to go into the political mindset in a way, because I do keep up with politics, and I was trying to question things and how the movie was done, and I don't know if that was taken into account at all in making the film, but. Regardless of that, though, I think it was done well. I think it was acted well. I don't really remember. Now it's been like a week and a half since I watched this, but I don't remember a bad actor in the movie. I think everybody did pretty well, and maybe I've slept since then, so I don't know.
Okay, yeah, no, I'm with you, and I will say this to your point about not going political, is that this movie forced me to do some research, right? Because 2012 it's only 5 years ago, so I was obviously very aware of the world and the things in it and stuff. But this thing was like, because it happened so quickly, even in real life, in real time, it was very quick, and then all of a sudden it was just a talking point you heard on the radio. Like conservative radio and Bill O'Reilly and all that, whatever. It was just this talking point of Hillary is evil. Why? Benghazi. Oh, it was just a thing. So I really had to do a lot of research, kind of figuring out kind of the why behind all that stuff, and kind of reading both sides. I mean, I was reading from different articles, so I wanted to kind of make sure I was getting a
and I don't know if
approach.
maybe this was made to be. To draw awareness to what it actually was, because Benghazi became one of those trigger words, one of those words that the news media would use. It's a popular word to use, a hot word or whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of people that didn't know anything about it would just think, oh, okay, well, something bad happened there and it was her fault. So, or whatever. So, or maybe they wouldn't think that, that's neither here nor there.
Right.
But it was a trigger word. And so I don't know if I thought maybe while I was watching this that they maybe had made this to kind of bring to light the events that actually happened, because
people were, there were people involved, not just a political thing.
Yeah.
And this really does tell the story of the lives of the people there. I got really emotional watching certain parts of this. Especially
Dude, when they started talking about their kids during
oh yeah,
the downtime of the battle, yeah,
yeah.
That got to me.
It did too. It was, I mean, all three of us are parents, and so we can kind of relate to what they're going through. And there's a moment where I think they all kind of realize that they're probably all going to die. You know, like one of the guys was like, "Hey, it's been fun, right?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's been fun." You know, and like I got to talk to my kids today, and it was a good phone call. It was a good time. So, you know, they're kind of resolved the idea that this is.
It's kind of like Toy Story 3.
Yep, they're about to. The toys are holding hands, and
they've resigned themselves to what's happening.
They had the director of that movie on. Wait, don't tell me this last week.
Oh yeah,
and he was like, "Why did you have to rip out our hearts with that scene?" And he was like, "Well, you know," he said originally the studio didn't want to do that because he thought it was too dark. They thought it was too dark, and so, but he was like, you know, I wanted to show the impact that these relationships had on each other, and but he was like, but every adult in the theater was crying, you know that, right? And so anyway, it was kind of fun. So yeah, anyway, and Andrew also, I think, to your point, I don't think this movie is making a political statement. Like, I think they did.
I don't think so either. If there's any kind of statement that they're saying, it's budget has cut. There wasn't a budget for enough protection to be safe.
Right.
Basically.
Yeah.
That's what I kept getting.
Well, and I tried to look at it as just, they're just telling the story.
Yeah. And I felt the same way. Yeah. And it's obviously there's easy to compare because they're tonally very similar, and what happened historically is pretty similar to Black Hawk Down.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the movie's the same in that movie is the same in that it's not a political movie, right? It's not telling a political story. It's the story of these soldiers and what they had to go through, you know, for their country, and what that's what they did. So,
if anything, this movie, the reason that Benghazi happened as bad as it did is because of the station chief.
Yeah,
that is the true villain. If that is true, I don't know how much he was created just to be the villain of the movie, but I mean, like they said, if he would have let them go when they asked to go, they would have been able to get the guy out, the ambassador out.
Yeah, Sean, I think his name was. I can't remember.
Yeah,
I'll look it up.
So if there's any kind of political message, it's that, there was failure on the local level in terms of leadership.
Yeah, it's that whole. There's a couple.
And Michael Bay loves that, by the way. A lot of his movies have that idiot bureaucrat that has more power than he should have.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. And I, throughout the movie, I almost felt like they played up that the relationship he had with the grunts worse than it probably actually was. Yeah. I mean, he was such a dick to them. Of course, they were a dick to him, but I kind of feel like if these men are being paid to protect the CIA people, because that's what their job was. It wasn't to protect the ambassador; it was to protect the CIA guys, right? Yep. That was their job. So if that's your job, you're being paid to do that. This is your job, okay? And we are all ex-military, so we all have discipline. We all have the things that make us great at our job, right? So then, and I think technically they did work for the CIA. They were contracted, but they were paid by the CIA, so they technically were employee of the CIA. So I just kind of feel like you shouldn't piss those guys off.
No.
That seemed very.
No, you want them on your side at all times.
And I thought, and I put this in my notes. And again, this movie goes to my theory. If I take few notes, I mean, this is a 2.5 hour long movie, and I took 9 notes because I was just immersed in what was happening. I really was, and there wasn't. Honestly, I didn't feel like there was much to write down anyway. But, I did write that the relationship between him and Tonto, right, the big tall guy, right, who it was funny. Like 2/3 of the movie, I'm going, where do I know him? Where do I know him from? And then I IMDb him. He was a villain, a recurring villain on Law and Order SVU.
Huh.
And I'm like, oh, that's that guy, right? Okay. Anyway, but like the two of them had at it way worse than anyone else, right? I mean, like I think he threatened to write him up or something, right? And I kept thinking, okay, so what's going to happen is that at some point they're playing this up so that at the end of the movie, Tonto is probably going to save that guy's life, and then that guy's going to have this moment of like, hey, I'm sorry I was such a dick to you, and he's like, hey, it's fine, whatever, I'm just doing my job. I felt that was going to happen, but it never did. So I don't know if a trope that didn't happen is a hopping man, but I mean, there you go. There was another moment though in this movie I thought was a hopping man. No, did I write it down? I can't remember. There was another moment, but I can't remember what it was now. We'll keep going through the show, and I'll think I'll remember it, because I remember there was a thing that they brought into the movie and then there was never a payoff for, anyway, or even a resolution. Sam, you haven't really gone yet, have you?
No, not yet.
Okay, your turn. Sorry.
You want me to go?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. This of course is my first time checking this thing out. Really, really did enjoy it. Except for a few moments of stupidity that Michael Bay just loves to put it into his movies, in terms of just bad dialogue. It's not natural how sometimes, how people talk. And I thought that was, I don't know, annoying. I just don't like that kind of stuff. Basically, it's talking down to the audience instead of just, how can I explain it? It's when they're trying to describe something that doesn't need to be described. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Do you think that's or Michael Bay just trying to, I don't want to say what I'm trying to think of. Do you think he's trying to steer the boat, so to speak, more than he needs to, and not letting the actors act?
Well, I mean,
and that's I think
that could be writing. It might not be a Michael Bay thing. I mean, Michael Bay still has to answer to writers. It could be writing. It could be, but
did you guys notice that too, though?
Yeah.
Okay, and that kind of brought me out of the movie a few times in there. But there's one thing that Michael Bay does really well, and that is just destruction.
Well, yeah.
You can feel the weight of these bullets zinging past these guys. When they're shooting up a car, you can see the car literally moving horizontally because of the impact of those things. And it's just
and watching those RPGs bounce off the ground and hit a car or whatever.
I mean, it's such a good. I don't even know how to explain it.
Well, no, he. I will say this. So this goes against what we had issues with Zack Snyder in Batman v Superman. Is that Zack Snyder is bad at world building. Michael Bay is good at world building. We knew where we were. We knew the rules. We felt the weight, not just of the bullets. We felt the weight of the situation. Yeah. We felt, and like and every moment was terrifying. These men show up with guns, and they, are you friendly? Yeah, we're Libyan army. Okay, man, I wish these guys would wear uniforms.
And I do have to mention this. Sean, we talked a little bit about this thing before tonight, and you mentioned how it was like the Alamo. Right. Yeah. And the only thing I had ever heard of Benghazi was that our ambassador got killed and everybody got killed in the compound. Right.
Yeah.
So I'm expecting an Alamo. Right.
Right.
So when at the very last scene, when he's, the giant convoy comes up to the fence, I'm like, well, here it is.
Here it is. Yeah.
This is it. This is the last thing that's going to happen to these guys. And darn you for getting my hopes up. I'm not hopes up, but I totally did not expect John Krasinski, whatever his character's name was, to survive this thing.
Jack.
And I was waiting for it. I was sitting there waiting for him to die.
Yeah.
But, Michael Bay, he shows the tactics, and he shows exactly why 6 guys are able to hold off. Goodness gracious.
Hundreds, if not
30,
thousands.
40, hundreds at a time?
I think hundreds, yeah.
Yeah.
And why, a trained U.S. soldier can have the ability to do that. And, I believe, I believe him when I hear that, if we could have gone to save the ambassador if you would have let us, and they probably could have.
Oh, yeah.
So I was in this hook, line, and sinker. Really enjoyed the characters. The only problem I had, of course, was with some of the dialogue. But I also had a problem figuring out who exactly died, right? So there's 2 guys that died, right?
Mm-hmm.
And which guys were they? I guess I was too lazy to kind of rewind and check it again.
Well, his best buddy, Tyrone.
Roan died. Tyrone Woods died.
And which one was he?
He was the only other guy that had a whole lot of lines. I mean, obviously I can't say the white guy with the beard, but he was.
Okay. All right. So
he was the guy from Spectral.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
We saw him in
I thought that was
Spectral
gonna be him.
and
Okay.
Iron Man 3. Yeah, him.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then who was the other one?
It wasn't Boone. Let's see. Oz is the guy who lost his arm.
There was Tig.
I can't remember if it was Tig or if it wasn't Tonto. I know he walked out of there. It was either Boone or Tig. I can't remember. And I'll have to look it up. Anyway, what's your point?
Anyway, I just had a hard time figuring out who exactly died, mainly because I think it was that these guys all had beards and were kind of hard to figure out who was who on that thing. So
Yeah.
that's about it.
Glenn was the other guy.
Glenn. Okay.
Roan and Glenn were the 2 that died. So, yeah, I mean, I was kind of with you, Sam, that I thought they were. Yeah. I thought it was an Alamo situation, but that's just because we obviously weren't paying attention in 2012 enough to what was going on and what was happening. So that's on us. I'm looking for. Oh yeah, Glenn Bub Doherty. Yeah, Toby Stevens played him. He was the guy who came from the other place, right? Who's like, he came over and he's like, either you give us the truck or we're gonna steal it or something like that. That guy, right?
Oh, that guy, the guy from Black Sails or the. Okay.
Oh yeah. The show. Yeah. He's from Black Sails.
So the guy he basically came late.
Yeah. He came and he was the quote unquote reinforcements of 4 people. And because as soon as they got there, their Libyan army buddies bugged out. And so then they had to kind of wait for the actual standing Libyan army to come and rescue them, like legit rescue them.
Okay.
Yeah, so those were the 2 that perished.
I thought that was maybe who did it, but yeah, but the mortar rounds hitting the roof there at the end. That's when I was like, "Yep, here it is. They're done. This is it."
And no, I mean it was the whole thing was intense. And I did finally remember my hopping man was the bit where they kept thinking that the enemy was crawling under the sheep, and then they weren't. So I was like, like they kept talking about the sheep and all that stuff, and so I thought, oh, that's what they're gonna do. They're literally gonna be wearing like sheep wool thingies, and then come in and do no, they didn't do that. So that was kind of my hopping man for the movie. Anyway. Trying to think what else I want to say real quick.
So yeah, now I mean that's pretty much. I really enjoyed the movie. Thought it was fun. My version of fun is different than Sean's.
Well, no.
It was a good ride, and I enjoyed learning more about this event. And hopefully, as much as research as I tried to figure out, it's pretty accurate from what I can read.
Yeah, and that's what I learned too, is that this movie is pretty accurate in that aspect. I mean, it's I know it's only 5 years ago, but it's a historical. I mean, it's no different than what the movie The Alamo is. The Alamo is not telling a political stance. It's not talking about the political wares of Texas and how it related to the rest of the U.S. and Mexico. It's a movie about these men that stood up against an insurmountable number of people, and in the case of the Alamo, it basically boiled down to Santa Anna being stupid, is how they were able to be as successful as they were. Yeah. Which I love that movie, by the way. I really do. I think it's fantastic. I know I've said it on this show before. The Alamo is actually really, really good. You should go watch it. If it ever streams, we're doing it for the podcast because I think it's such a really good movie, and Billy Bob Thornton is really good at Davy Crockett. So anyway,
so yeah, that's pretty much my take.
Well, good.
So.
I wrote very few notes. That's the guy from Spectral. I guess op guys have to have beards. I mentioned Tonto and the CIA guy conflict, really showing the difference between company guys and soldiers, meaning you had the two people that were there to protect the ambassador, and they looked like rent-a-cops compared to these soldiers. And I don't know if I don't know if that was.
And they were probably still pretty well trained, I would guess.
I would guess so too. I mean, it just kind of made them seem a little bit more frantic and inept than probably what they actually were. And I don't know if that is to compare them to the soldiers that would come in and be calm, collected, and do the job, because at the end, when they're on the roof, I can't remember the only black guy in the movie that's not a villain. D.S. Dave Ubben is his real name. Demetrius Gross is his real name. Dave Ubben is his character name. He's on the roof with them, and because he climbs up and he's all busted up and he's bleeding. He was in that fire, so he's coughing, and he's like, "Man, go get some rest." He goes, "This is my fight. They killed my ambassador." And you're with him. You're like, yeah, I get it, mm-hmm. Right? Like he was your ward, and they killed him, and you kind of want a little bit of payback, and now it's your job. So I get it. So they let him obviously up on the roof. So he clearly wasn't as inept as it seemed to be earlier, and it obviously wasn't Keystone Cop or anything like that. But it did seem like they were a little whatever. Trying to think. Other than that, I mean, what other notes I wrote? I think someone else should have driven the car.
What the heck was going on?
Krasinski told that guy, make sure you go left. He must have said it 5 times, said someone else should drive. He said, no, I'm good, and then goes out and turns right. And he's like, no, go left. And then they show up, and it's all busted. Should have gone left. So, and there was a couple of moments that I appreciated that Michael Bay is good at, is in these, intense movie, there's a couple moments of brevity, right? Right. And he does it in all the movies, right? I mean, in The Rock, it's this madman might, kill every person in San Francisco, and here comes Sean Connery saying, only losers complain about doing their best. Winners go home and screw the prom queen. Like, that's a funny line and a wonderful line and epic, but it's still comedic, right? And in this movie, there's that, right? There's, I should have turned left, I mean, that's kind of a funny moment. So there's, and I think Michael Bay is actually pretty good at that. And because of course, Bad Boys 2 is a comedy. It's an action comedy. So, of course, there's going to be a lot of comedy moments in that movie. I kind of want to go watch Bad Boys 2 now. I don't know why. We haven't done that for the podcast. We should do that for the podcast. I
thought we did.
Did we do Bad Boys 2?
I'm pretty sure we did a Bad Boys.
Did we? I can't remember.
I think we did Bad Boys 2. It's been a while, though.
It was one of them. I know one of them.
Oh, well, maybe we did. I don't remember. Well, when you've done almost 200, I mean, I think it's fair that I can forget one, or think that, we did do it. Yeah, it was our 58th episode. We did do it.
See?
So that means I have clips from that movie somewhere.
Some clippy clips?
Yeah, some clippy clips. Yeah. But, yeah. I have this one.
No, Dan Marino should definitely buy this car. But not this one, because I'm going to one up, but he should definitely get one like that.
Right.
You're coming with us.
Oh.
That's the question.
Oh, sorry.
Yep.
Apparently Lost in Space wanted to have its day too.
You were speaking of brevity. There were like two lines that really stuck out with me. One of them was when he's talking about the guys getting there, and he said, if the consulate had ordered a pizza, it would have been here by now.
Yeah.
And then the other one he said was, payback's a bitch, and her stripper name is Karma.
Right.
Stuff like that. I feel like that's something that I would say, or any of us would say when.
Yeah.
So even though it's moments of brevity, I feel like it's true moments of brevity. I don't feel like it's thrown in there just to give us that. I think that, that's real conversation that somebody would probably have.
Well, and the thing is, and of course, most of those were delivered by Tonto. He was obviously our kind of comic relief. But, you relate to that because it's a frustrating moment, and people deal with frustrating things differently. And I relate to that, and I think, Andrew, you do too.
Yeah.
I process through humor sometimes, maybe not in the best of times, but that's kind of how I deal with things. And I would have done the same thing. I mean, I probably wouldn't have made that line, but I would have said something similar to that. And I did remember something else that I really liked in the movie is that I have never seen one episode of The Office. Not one.
Oh, really?
No, I've seen scenes, where the crazy dude with the hair stabs the CPR mannequin to pull out its, to harvest its organs. I've seen that. Who plays Mud in the new Star Trek show? He plays a villain.
Does he really?
Yeah, he plays a villain in the new Star Trek show. Oh, it's great. He's really good at it, and a freaking good villain. And anyway, so
it's a great show. It second, third season is amazing.
I have, again, it's one of those that I didn't watch it for no other reason than I just didn't watch it. It wasn't like, oh, I don't want to watch this mockumentary. It wasn't that. I just didn't. Anyway, my point is,
that's hilarious.
Yeah.
I totally bought Krasinski as an action dude.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah, absolutely.
And it kind of made me think about other guys who made the transition. Will Smith made that transition from comedy guy to Bad Boys 1, right? And others, I'm trying to think of some others. Help me out. Guys who started off in comedy and they went to action.
Chris Pratt, for God's sake.
Oh, yeah, Chris Pratt. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, he makes that's a great one.
Michael Keaton.
He hasn't done a hard R. Chris Pratt. He hasn't done a hard R action.
Given time, he probably will.
Yeah, he might. I mean, gosh, could you see a Die Hard reboot with Chris Pratt? I could see Chris Pratt doing the whole come out to the coves, have a few laughs, like that kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I could see it. We should make that happen. Somebody said something else. I can't remember who.
Michael Keaton.
Yeah, Michael Keaton. Yeah, goes from Mr. Mom and Multiplicity to Batman. Yeah.
Was good at it. Carrot Top.
No, he wasn't funny to begin with.
Jamie Kennedy.
Did you just Google this? Who's Jamie Kennedy?
I don't know. I'm just coming up.
I was
with
like,
names
you
off
just
the top of
Google
my
that,
head.
Google actors who went from comedy to action. Anyway, I'm trying to think some other ones. Anyway, the list is actually pretty good.
Or action to comedy. You've got people like Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, Schwarzenegger and The Rock and Vin Diesel. I mean, they all went from action to comedy. Though not all of them work. Like Kindergarten Cop worked for me for whatever reason.
Yeah.
The Pacifier with Vin Diesel did not work for me.
No. I agree.
But yeah, just go back to being I Am Groot or Iron Giant, and there you go. Oh, and so Sam, I know you're super excited about Ready Player One to come out.
Yes.
Well, the trailer when it first dropped, I was watching it on my laptop. Well, my son's sitting next to me and he's watching cartoons, and he just glances over to see what I'm doing because there's movement and noise, And all of a sudden, up that scene walks with the Iron Giant, and he lost his mind. He's like, "Daddy, that's the Iron Giant. What are you watching? Are you watching the Iron Giant? Why, can we watch the Iron Giant? Why? What? Why is the Iron?" Because he loves that movie. And I'm like, no, it's not the Iron Giant. He's just in another movie. He goes, "Can we go watch it?" I'm like, "No, it's not in theaters yet, buddy, but it's probably too grown up for you."
Yeah.
So, my son is super into Star Wars, and here's the problem I'm at with him. First of all, he's 5 years old, okay? And people feel free to judge me. He's already seen PG-13 movies.
Which PG-13 movie?
He actually has watched with me multiple times Rogue One.
My kids have it. And, it's not 13 for language or subject matter. It's 13 really for violence.
For violence, and it's mostly simulated, right? Because it's laser blasts and people in costume, those stormtroopers, right? So there's no blood. I think the only blood is like because Cassian fell down, and I think because Jen fell down and she's got a cut on her head, right? Like the only real death that you see is the robot. So, spoiler, sorry, K2SO. But so he's watched it with me because we both have been watching. He had a sick day, he and I, 3 weeks ago, and we binge watched season 2 of Rebels, Star Wars Rebels. And so he's at this age now where he loves Star Wars and he wants to watch it. And I'm like, okay, Empire is you're not ready for Empire.
No.
And I'm not ready for that reveal yet. And I'm going to try to keep it so that he doesn't get there until maybe 8 or 9, maybe 10, right? Before he gets to experience the reveal. I kind of want to see what that's like for him, But anyway, I don't remember what my point was. Doesn't matter. My point was my son likes Star Wars. I don't even know how we got here. Here you go, Sam. You'll appreciate this little discussion for a moment. So as you all know, listeners and alike, and you guys, I'm obviously a huge film score dude. Love me I'm always paying attention to the score and who wrote it and things like that, right? So it was done by Lorne Balfe.
Okay.
And I have to be honest, it's the first time I've ever said his name. But he's done such things as he just did Geostorm.
Oh, God.
He did Ghost in the Shell. He did the Lego Batman movie. 13 Hours. Terminator Genesis. Okay. All right, hold on. Let's make sure. Yeah, composer. Okay. Terminator Genesis. A bunch of things I've never heard of. Penguins of Madagascar. I kind of like that movie.
I do too. Private.
Okay, and a bunch of other stuff I've never heard of. A bunch of stuff. A lot of video games. Assassin's Creed 3. Kung Fu Panda, The Secrets of the Masters. He did Rango, the video game. That's a movie. But he did Megamind. Anyway,
so he's on the DreamWorks. He's on there. Must be on their payroll.
Yeah, he does a lot of DreamWorks. Something called Ironclad. Skylanders. Anyway, so here's my point. I don't know who this guy is. I'm actually kind of interested. He's from Scotland. That's but he has done other like music department kind of stuff for such movies as Inception, The Dark Knight, Sherlock Holmes. What movies did those? What composer did those movies? Hans Zimmer.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
This movie sounded like not Inception. This movie sounded like, Inception. Mm-hmm. The whole time I'm watching this movie going, this is the Inception soundtrack. It sounded just like Inception. There's even moments where it's like that, bum, 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 and those big kind of brassy moments. And I'm like, God, it sounds just like Inception. So Anyway,
It's close.
yeah, I should have capped it. I didn't, but I should have. Anyway, did I ever play for you the whole Monsters Inc. meets Star Wars clip? There's a moment that they sound just alike.
No.
Did I play that for you guys?
I don't think so.
No, I'm not prepared to do
If
that.
you did, it might have been in one of the 188 shows we've done before.
I thought I did. I thought I capped it out and did it. I can't remember if I did or not. But we rewatched Toy Story 1, 2, and 3 this weekend because Declan was just in a mood. And there's a moment in Toy Story 3. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's that same freaking rip from Star Wars again. So anyway, it's fine. What movie did I just say? Star Wars? What? Oh, doesn't matter. I'm not going to find it if I did it. So I guess you guys have anything else you want to add?
No, really. There's some pretty, you watch a movie to see something you have never seen before, and I think they did pretty well with showing us a few scenes that were pretty extravagant. The blowing up of the bus was pretty crazy. The even the fire in the embassy was kind of nuts.
Yeah.
And I had no idea that's how it happened. In terms of, I knew he died of smoke inhalation, but I never thought they had basically set the place ablaze with diesel fuel or whatever.
Right. Sorry.
Oh.
Sorry.
But the car getting shot at like crazy, and then kind of limping into the compound.
Yeah.
That just, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they were able to even make it. I thought they were goners after that as well, because somebody told me it was an Alamo movie.
Well, it still kind of is. I mean, they even say it in the movie. Oops.
Yeah.
Okay. Were you guys ready for some clippy clips?
Let's get some
Let's do it.
All right. Didn't get a whole lot. Not a whole lot of brevity to capture, but I got a few. Here we go. Oh, so this clip is a cool clip because I like, because he bluffs this guy, right? But my favorite part of the scene, right? So I'll play the clip and then I'll talk about the scene.
Pull over for inspection.
No.
Pull over for inspection.
Sorry, sir, I can't do that. Look up. Go ahead, look up. You see the drone? No? That's all right, because the drone sees you. Sees your face. We know who you are. Anything happens to us, your home, your family, gone. Give the order to let us go.
There you go. It's like you feel that building tension, right? Like I feel like the van's about to fall off the bridge. So the part of that I love the most is, now these two guys know each other. They've known each other for apparently years, right? And they've worked with each other. And it was just like they knew without even looking at each other, because you notice they're not even looking at each other. They're both looking out their door windows, right? Without a cue, they both pull their guns and they both aim at the opposite door. And the reason you do that is so that the guy with the gun can't reach and take the gun from you. Right? Like, it's such a smart thing. Like, Michael Bay actually probably had real soldiers on this film set with tactics, and I love it when movies do that kind of thing, because they did, we're going to get this part real. And I loved it. And then when we need to step it up, then when he tries to take the truck, he's like, I want the truck, then they switch, and he sticks the gun in the other guy's face and says, that's not going to happen. Right? Like, it was a cool scene. It was a really cool scene. I like it. Okay, here we go. All three of us have children, and this has happened to us at some point.
Welcome to McDonald's.
Guys, chill out! Turn it down!
Calm down. Mommy's driving, okay?
We'll take 25 Happy Meals, please! No, we don't want 25 Happy Meals.
Sir, can you just hang on one more second?
I'm hungry!
I know you are. Just hold on.
But we want the toys.
Just give me whatever you want.
Wait, what?
What?
All right. That's one way to tell. I don't know why she couldn't just say 6 Happy Meals. Why was that hard? I don't know, but anyway. I know you guys probably caught this and probably thought of me, but here you go.
Might want to get inside.
I wonder if they can get the Broncos game.
There you go. There's the Broncos.
How'd the Broncos do?
In
this week,
2012,
John?
they did okay that year. They went to the Super Bowl and lost, but they went to the Super Bowl.
How about this past week?
This year? Oh, they're terrible this year. They're real bad. That's what happens when you get rid of a Hall of Fame coach like Wade Phillips and you hire a guy who's never been anything more than a coordinator for 1 year as your head coach. And you have somebody named Trevor Siemian as your starting quarterback.
Simeon, isn't that a type of ape?
It is. I think it is. Abe, wait, isn't that from Hellboy? Abe Sapien, never mind.
Sapien. Yeah. Simeon, I think is
that's some sort of Star Trek, Star Wars.
Homo Sibian? Yeah, I think that's right. Here we go.
Some sort of Orville.
Oh, I love that show.
Yeah.
Orville, so good. Are you're not watching that yet, Sam, are you?
Me? No, not yet. I will. It's on my list.
Yeah.
It's great.
If you're not watching it, you need to. And it's just, I'm be real honest with you, it's not Family Guy in space. It's not.
No.
Which I saw the first episode and liked it.
Okay, good. And it gets way better. In fact,
it does. I was afraid that it was going to be that.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, this might last a week.
Yeah, and it's
actually
already
a good show.
And Fox is like not screwing it up. Like they're actually keeping it on. Like they're not doing a Firefly with this thing. Like they're keeping it on a normal schedule.
Well, I would think Seth MacFarlane has enough say over things.
Yeah, he does. You're right.
Basically, do what he wants to do with it.
He has some weight with Fox. They've already greenlit season 2, which is great. But like there was an episode recently where there was almost zero humor. It was like I'm not going to give you any whatever, but like a crew member kind of gets separated from the ship, and then it's kind of real and hard and whatever. So like there's almost zero humor in it. So for all I know, it was taken directly from a Star Trek: The Next Generation episode. It felt very, very Trek, which is cool. Okay, anyway. Google.
What, they don't know where it is? Libya and friends here aren't much help. Okay, Annex, we're officially lost. Neither Google or Siri know where the you are.
And I was constantly amazed at this movie at how just lots of people didn't die.
Yeah.
In terms of non-Americans, all the times that just how easy it would have been to pull the trigger in that situation. These guys are so super trained to wait until the perfect moment. It's just it was amazing to see that.
Yeah, and to not kill just people on the street. These guys ran up beside them with guns, and they didn't just instinctively shoot. They're like, "Are you friendly?" Yeah. Okay, don't shoot me in the back.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
I wonder there's so much stress and anxiety of these guys coming back from places like this.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, and I was thinking as I was watching it, if I'm in their situation, I don't know that I could do that.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know that I could trust somebody that much to let them go in behind me and trust that they're not going to shoot me.
Right.
Yeah.
Or not going to blow me up and all my buddies. I just don't know that I can do it.
Yeah, but I guess if you're there, then you have some relationships and you kind of know who, that there is a support system there that's friendly to America. But again, when there's no one wearing uniforms, they all look the same,
Yeah.
And that's not a racial thing. That's
well,
literally, it's just
at the very end there.
It's just,
the only reason there wasn't shots fired is because
a guy got out of the truck.
He decided to do the little Kamehameha thing or whatever that is.
What?
At the very when the big the cartel, the transports team came in. And you had the guy on top of the roof pointing his gun at the guy with the giant gun on the back of the truck.
Oh, right. Oh,
And it looked like
I see what you
it
mean.
was
And he
the-
did
it
like
was the end.
Yeah, he did. It was Hang 10, right?
Hang 10, thank you.
Yeah. He did the Hang 10 thing, and then the guy did it back to him. He was like, "Hey, they're friendly," because if Tonto would have pulled the trigger, then that guy would have pulled the trigger, and Tonto would not be here.
Oh, yeah.
Because that was a 50
You-
cal.
you- You probably couldn't find poor Tonto.
Yeah. So
in that case,
yeah, I see what you meant by Kamehameha. You meant like Hawaiian Kamehameha, not Dragon Ball Z
Yeah.
reference. I was really confused.
Yeah.
I missed a clip. There's one here. Blend.
Hey, easy, Ron. Try to blend. We are. The dead body in the back. Bunch of heavily armed operators. Just going back to hide in our covert CIA base.
There you go. There's a little brevity. And then Tonto, last little bit.
All right, weird shit's starting to happen now. Had just about enough of this 2012 Alamo bullshit.
All right. Oh,
And now for some more bad news. Ready?
Little trivia. I didn't do a whole lot. I did write tropes. Backstory by Newsreel and Michael Bay trope. Kids running in slow-mo. He didn't do man stands up while camera spins around him slow motion. Never saw that shot. And I looked for it in a Michael Bay film. They never did it. So I was actually
that's some personal.
That's some restraint.
I mean, there's got to be a deleted clip though.
There's probably some
of John Krasinski, standing up on the roof as flames fly, and
the original cut of this was like 4 hours.
Yeah, that's true. Well, yeah. That's actually my second piece of trivia.
It was 13 hours, just double time.
Right. Yeah. According to producer
like Smurfs, move very fast.
Producer Erwin Stoff, the diplomatic compound and CIA annex were built using the actual plans. Quote, "What we did is we had actual plans and satellite images of the original structures, and we had the guys. So we built these. We replicated both the annex and the diplomatic mission exactly to the inch," end quote.
Wow.
In a January 18, 2016 interview on the Mark Levin radio program, Mark Geist said he sneaked in during filming. That's the actual soldier. During filming.
Because he can. He's that good.
Well, he took place of Max Martini. Martini. He's the guy who we saw in... he's every soldier every time. He was in Saving Private Ryan. He was in... We saw him in Pacific Rim. He's the old guy. He's the dad, right, in Pacific Rim.
Yeah.
So he took place of Max Martini, the actor portraying him. Michael Bay didn't notice until Geist looked at the camera, which the two guys look a lot alike. It's actually pretty good casting. Yeah. And, of course, Mark Wahlberg was first choice to portray Roan. He declined due to prior commitment. Probably because he had just done Lone Survivor.
Lone Soldier, yeah.
And decided not to, which I actually thought Krasinski did a good job. I mean...
I'd like to see him in more action stuff. I know he's going to do the Jack Ryan.
The Jack Ryan show.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to see that. Did you say Jack Reacher, Sam?
I said Jack Ryan.
Oh, I was, because that made me think of Jack Reacher. Did I do the Jack Reacher for?
I think didn't you do a little
an anchor post?
Anchor post, yeah.
Okay, I couldn't remember if I did or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do remember doing that now. Yeah, I did see the second Jack Reacher. It's not nearly as good as the first one, and I know you have issues with the first one because you read the books.
Yeah,
and because
totally
it's a miscast, and I'm fine with you saying that. Again, I didn't read the book, so I don't have a concept of what Jack Reacher is supposed to be.
Yeah.
I know he's supposed to be like 6'4", big, burly, ugly dude, and they cast 5'7", handsome,
pretty boy,
Tom Cruise. But the second movie is more like Jason Bourne. It was too actiony. I liked the first one for the kind of
more
the
of a
pace.
detective story.
It is a detective story. It's kind of it's almost like a spy thriller, because the government's out to get him, kind of a thing. It was cool. Anyway, I like Jack Reacher, the first one, not so much the second one. Cool. And Allison Hodge, Aldous Hodge is in that. He's from Leverage. But the role he plays, I just can't buy. Just I don't know. I mean, like, yeah, Krasinski goes from comedy dude to this movie, and I totally buy it, and whatever. But for whatever reason, from the guy, because he was in Leverage, and he's kind of one of the comedic moments or comedic guys in Leverage, and then he's supposedly playing this captain in the army, and he's barking out orders like Tommy Lee Jones. I'm like, yeah, I think that's bad casting. I love that dude, and I want to meet him one day. Like, he's one of the few people in Hollywood I actually want to meet and shake his hand. But that's a bad part. Anyway, not his fault.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
No, Aldous Hodge.
Okay.
Again, there's very few people in Hollywood I actually want to meet because I have long since learned don't meet, quote unquote, your heroes because you'll be let down.
Yeah.
You know, I met Shauna Waldron, the girl that played Icebox, and I have this kind of children, like men my age, Sam, Andrew, and we always joke, Sam, but you know, you're 48, but you know,
what?
We're all men of a certain age. We watched the Little Giants growing up, right? And and we have this kind of image of little Icebox and this kind of cute little thing, and she's in her cheerleader skirt while she plays football and beats up all these other kids, and it's this great. And then when she's older and drunk and soliciting things, I'm like, no, you just ruined. So
it was you poor kid.
She's still a very, very lovely person and very beautiful, but it was still weird seeing her on a bar drunk. Anyway, it's fine. She's an adult. She can do whatever she wants. That'd be interesting. I might actually.
I'm an adult. I do whatever I want.
I'm a grown ass man. It would be kind of interesting to see if there was create a list of people that you actually want to meet. You know. Like I love Bruce Willis movies. I don't know if I ever want to meet him. He seems kind of cranky, you know. But you know what I'm saying? But I want to meet Nathan Fillion. Yeah, you know. So
yeah.
Joe
Pesci.
I don't want to. Yeah, sure. Just to get the name out there. I'm a huge Trek fan. That's not. I don't want to meet William Shatner. He seems like a grumpy old dude, and he'd probably charge me $10 to shake his hand. But I want to meet Chris Pine. You know, so he just seems more like a chill dude, but
yeah,
it's fine. Top 3, we decided to go with movies where your heroes are kind of outnumbered, right? And I know that's a very broad thing, but we didn't want to do just like your Alamo trope because I felt like that would, pun intended, wall us into a very few select movies. So we figured, well, yeah, that again, it's a very broad stroke. Basically, it's like every action movie ever. But that's what we're gonna do. So I have a feeling that there's gonna be lots of honorable mentions for our top 3 because I have 4. And
I actually stayed away from honorable mentions, to tell you the truth, only because I just didn't have the time.
Well,
I didn't.
And I'm pretty. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I feel, and I usually I do an honorable mention just in case one of you guys steals one of mine. Pretty confident none of you are going to steal any of my top 3, which is fine. But there might be some overlap in our honorable mentions. We'll find out, Andrew.
Yeah. All right. Number 3, Inglourious Bastards.
Okay. All right. I'll be honest. Hated that movie.
Yeah.
I hated it. Oh, I didn't like it at all. Now,
that was great.
I liked parts. There were there were moments in that movie that were amazing.
And 99% of it is kind of is my fault, right? You remember the whole we've talked about it many times. Expectations plus equal or expectations plus real equals happiness.
Yeah.
And I knew it was a Tarantino joint, right? And I'm good with Tarantino movies for the most part. But I did not know it was going to be a complete fallacy. It's not you know what I'm saying? I thought it was a
rewrite of history.
Well, I thought it was a historical movie because in the Inglourious Bastards, in historical text, is a real thing.
Yeah.
They weren't Jews, though. They were convicts, death row convicts from England that they parachuted in behind German lines before the Americans got there. And they said, there's a whole other movie about them. And they're like, you got a month or 2 to make it back to the coast by this day, and while you go, harass the German supply lines, and if you make it back, we'll pardon you.
Yeah.
So that's what I thought this movie was. So then when they're in a theater killing Hitler, I'm like, what am I watching? So I didn't particularly like it for other reasons, but anyway. So my own issue, but it's fine. Sorry, Andrew.
No problem. Number 2, Kingsman.
Oh, that's such a good movie.
And number 1, and one of my this, I don't know that it's in my top 10, but I really like this movie, The Last Samurai.
No, it's a good movie.
Yeah, I really like it.
It's long, but it's good. Yeah, Tom Cruise.
It's I don't like Tom Cruise, but it's one of the few movies of his that I actually will watch.
Yeah. No, that's a good movie. That's a good movie.
It's been so long since I've seen it, I don't think I have a reference in my mind.
I made the joke after watching it saying, so he's the reason why we went to war during World War II. He's not, but...
there you go. Yeah.
Good job. Sam.
All right. I've got number 3 here of Lone Survivor.
Oh, I've not seen that. I need to watch it.
Yeah, it's God, they have to jump off freaking cliffs to get away. I mean, it's crazy what they had to do. My number 2 is Starship Troopers.
Oh, right. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, against the bugs. And then...
the lost episode of Cheap Seat Reviews.
Do what?
The lost episode of Cheap Seat Reviews.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. I forgot we lost that one. And then my number 1 is a conglomeration of movies, but specifically The Two Towers and Return of the King.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, Lord of the Rings. Yeah, definitely.
Very outnumbered and, yeah, good stuff. Good stuff.
I read a really interesting article recently about the real reason why they couldn't use the Eagles. Some people say, well, the
Sauron
Eagles
could see them.
Well, yeah, that was the main one that I read recently, was that they're big flying things. Sauron would see them coming the entire way, focus on the ring, and then send the Nazgul to kill them.
Yeah.
Like it had to be a covert mission. That was the point. And then some people think that when Gandalf is holding on to the cliff before he drops down to go fight the Balrog, when he says, "Fly, you fools," that's him actually telling them to go find the eagles. I think that's reading into a line that Tolkien wrote too much.
Yeah.
Anyway, my top 6, 7.
What you got?
Honorable mentions: Die Hard, number 1. Honorable mention 2: Saving Private Ryan. Number 3: Black Hawk Down, and my number 4, which Sam, you're gonna kick yourself in the face for, The Kingdom of Heaven.
Oh yeah,
you need to watch it.
I love the music from that.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Good stuff.
Wait, did you actually watch it?
What's that? No, not yet.
Oh, I was gonna say, wait, you haven't watched it yet. You still have my copy.
I've got a Blu-ray player. I'm looking at it right now. It might actually be sitting in it. I just haven't been able to press play yet.
Well, again, no girls around. It's a 3-hour.
Oh, yeah.
You have to watch the director's cut 3-hour-long movie.
And I think that's probably why I've been putting it off so long, because it is hard to find
3 hours by yourself. No, I get it.
That chunk of time to.
Yeah, it's a time commitment, and I mean, maybe if it ever streams, maybe that's the only way we can do it. But if it's going to stream, they're not going to stream the director's cut.
That's what I want to see. I want to see the director's cut.
Because I've seen both versions. I watched the director's cut first, and then watched the theatrical, and I was like, oh, I get why the director cut is so much better, because it's not that the theatrical version is bad. It just doesn't. There's things that just don't make sense, and like dialogue that doesn't add up because there's whole scenes missing. I don't mean like that one deleted scene. I mean like that 6 deleted scenes. So anyway, my number 3 of actual outnumbered this, as I wrote, The Alamo, because of course I had to. Number 2, Star Trek Beyond, where they have to fight the thousands of drones in order to save the day.
Dude, I didn't like that movie.
I know you didn't, and that's fine. I loved it. I think it's the best of the new 3.
Didn't like it.
That's fine. Jeremy Lin's doing something else. The director of that, he's doing something else. He's doing another something I saw recently. Anyway, I think he's either going back to the Fast and Furious franchise or is doing something new. But that's fine. The Trek they'll get a new director. It'll be good. Yep. And number 1 is Serenity. Very, very rarely do I get to put Serenity in one of our categories, but it totally fits this time.
That's right. The the Reavers.
Pretty
much the whole thing.
Yeah,
the
pretty
Reavers,
much always.
And they're they're always being hunted by
the government.
whatchamacallums.
Yeah, by the agent.
So yeah. Okay.
So yeah, Serenity. I'm super excited that I get to actually use my movie. So it doesn't happen very often. Cool. That was fun. Out of 10.
Yeah.
I'll have a clip for that. Here we go.
Wait, what's supposed to happen?
You're out of 10 for 13 hours. Andrew.
I am going to give this I'm going to go right along with IMDb, or right close to it anyway. IMDb says it's a 7.3 out of 10.
Okay.
And I'm going to be maybe a little bit higher than that and say a 7.4.
All right. It's interesting. Your voting recently, or your scoring has been very even. We have the 7.4, and then 7.9 for the Founder, 7.6 for the Babysitter. So, which tells me that we're watching good movies.
Yeah, I know. This is kind of crazy. We're on a streak lately.
Yeah,
which means next week's got to be. The odds are against us.
Yeah, I think you're right. Because
we're watching all the good ones at once. That's not good.
I think we actually have a pretty good lineup coming up after that. Oh, I gotta go check something. Go ahead, Sam.
All right. So, as I try not to yawn, I'm kind of right there with Andrew. It's a pretty well-made movie. There's certainly a few faults, and there's distinctly Michael Bay faults, and it probably drags this thing for me down to about a 7.53 out of 10.
Okay, 7.53. All right.
Yep,
that's fine. All right, I'm with you there.
How about you, Sean? What do you got?
Sorry, I was fighting off a sneeze. I didn't want to sneeze into my microphone. And I'm also checking to see if not the next movie, but the movie after the next movie is streaming, and it's not. So I got to remove it from the list. Yeah,
it's not on Amazon either.
No, it's not. Not anywhere. So that is fine. We will find something else to do after that. Anyway. I'm going to give it, I liked it a little bit better than I think you guys did. I don't know. I like these types of movies. I mean, I love Black Hawk Down, Saving Private Ryan. I like war movies. I know it's a subject matter that's hard for a lot of people, but I really enjoy the storytelling and the brotherhood and the what men will do to help each other. To me, it's more about what we're willing to do to help each other than what other men are willing to do to hurt each other. At least that's what I feel like the story is about. So I'm going to give it an 8.25.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah, I liked it. I mean, and I'm looking back at the other movies we've done. I liked it that much better than The Founder and The Babysitter and certainly Birdemic. It's just right under Doctor Strange. I mean, I feel pretty confident or pretty comfortable with that. So,
sure.
Yeah, that's our movie. That was our review of 13 Hours. Go watch it. It's good. 2.5 hours long, but it's good.
Go see what these guys have to do.
Yeah, and it's
for a job, basically.
Yeah, for a paycheck. So yeah, go do that, and that's it. That's our show. Next week, I've confirmed it is still streaming. We're good to go. We are doing Cloud Atlas, the Tom Hanks Halle Berry joint. I know
the book I never finished.
Oh wow! I don't think I have. I only have one book I never finished, and that was the Game of Thrones book.
I think I have every book that I've ever tried to read. I've never finished.
Really?
Yeah.
These are very rare for me because usually I will trudge through it.
Yeah.
I always pick up a book and I think, all right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to read this, and then I read like a chapter, and I'm like, screw that. The only thing that I've ever read, to be honest, was I read Voyage of the Dawn Treader and Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And
that's a weird order.
Almost read The Magician's Nephew. Almost.
That's a strange order.
Yeah, I didn't read them in that order, but
okay, good. I read that book series. Obviously, Lord of the Rings. I just listened to The Dark Tower, The Gunslinger, and I have to admit I'm super confused. because I'm listening to this book thinking what I saw in I've not seen the movie, but what I saw from the previews is not what this book is.
No,
so
it looks like they totally butchered it. And speaking of another book that I never finished, that was another one.
Well, again, I listened to it, so it was less of a time commitment because when you're reading, you're kind of forced to sit and whatever. I was doing chores and driving because I drive an hour a day for my commute to and from daycare for the kids. So I have lots of time to listen to a book, though I could not listen to that while the kids were in the car because the F word is used a lot. Not a lot, but enough. So basically, I have to get from what I gather from the movie and the trailer is that they took part of book 1 and part of book 2.
Oh, okay.
Because of what happens in book 1 doesn't make any sense as to how it would happen, how you could make a movie. So anyway, I'm going to find the book 2 and listen to it at some point. It's not at my local library, which is free. So anyway, Cloud Atlas next week, 2012, Cloud Atlas. Heard it was terrible, but it's parked at 7.5 on IMDb, so who knows? I mean, Metacritic gives it, Metacritic.com gives it a 55. I don't know what Rotten Tomatoes has it for it, but it looks, I don't know. Gosh, Tom Hanks plays Dr. Henry Goose, hotel manager, Isaac Stocks, Dermot Hoggins, Cavendish lookalike actor Zachary. Everyone plays lots of different characters. I guess that'll make sense when Hugh Grant in this?
It's from what I read in the book, it's a lot of interconnected weird stuff.
Keith David would be our Star Trek connection for that movie.
This will be an interesting dive into a quote-unquote heady film, I think.
All right, neat. I didn't find a Star Trek connection for this movie. That's okay. I didn't look real hard either. That's our show. That's going to do it for us.
Folks, thanks for enduring.
I'm going to start playing this little outro music here. Is it playing? Yeah, there it is. That's it. The Cloud Atlas next week. Sorry for the delay again. Thank you for your patience. Yep. Hopefully you're still with us as a listener.
If you are.
Well, yeah, if you are. GoFundMe.com/CheapSeatReviews. We still have that go on. Any buck is great. Anchor app, check that out. Just go to iTunes, search for Cheap Seat Reviews, and you can listen to my little 4-minute reviews of other movies that I'm watching that's not related to the podcast. Leave us reviews. Please leave us reviews if you can. iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, YouTube, wherever you can find them. Visit our website, CheapSeatReviews.com, where there's links to our old episodes, Facebook.com/CheapSeatReviews, and at Twitter, at CheapSeatCast is our Twitter account, where I post stuff daily now. Just links to things and whatnot. Yeah, that's it. That's our show, and I'm super excited for Cloud Atlas, and we've got some other stuff coming up called something called Zootopia. I think it's a little Disney thing that someone did once, except I'm joking. I've seen that movie like 48 times.
Scared my children.
Oh my God, mine too.
Oh, weird. My son loves it.
Goodness, it scared the crap out of my girls.
Oh.
Like literally jumping on me to hold them.
Oh, weird. That's interesting.
Yeah.
No, my son has zero problem with that movie. So, anyway, that's what we're doing next week. But in the meantime, just I don't know how to end the show, so just good night.